Zookeeper Grace and Keeper Eric here again. We are in the petting yards today. Before we get too far started, I would like to give a big shout out to Corbin. He was supposed to have his 6th birthday party here this week, but we'll celebrate with the goats today. Charlie is sporting a birthday hat for you. So happy birthday, Corbin! Alright, well, I'll tell you a little bit about the goats that we have in the yard here at Miller Park Zoo. They are a pretty special breed. Everybody besides Charlie, who's a pygmy goat, everybody left. Bonnie, come here so they can see you on camera. Hey, girl. So the rest of our herd are San Clemente Island goats. They are a heritage breed, which means that they are an endangered domestic. There's less than, I believe the last population numbers I heard were right around 800. So there are definitely less than 1,000 left of these in the wild. The history with the San Clemente Island goat is that they believe Spanish settlers brought them with them when they were settling the Americas as a food and a dairy source. They are a multi-purpose goat. All my goats left. I need snacks.
How are the dozen kids from last year doing while we wait?
So we have 4 of those babies left still. Jonas! You want snacks? I brought carrot snacks for them today.
Corbin is watching, by the way. Corbin is watching.
Yay!
He did see her happy birthday.
Corbin! I hope you saw Charlie's birthday hat for you. So let me get back to the history of the breed. Oh, that's a big carrot. So Spanish settlers brought them with them as a dairy and meat source for future settlers. That's a really big bite, Charlie. You can't have that one. There you go. You want to try that one? You can gnaw on that one. And so they left them on an island off the coast of California. And then several hundred years passed, and the goats were overtaking the island, and they were killing all of the native plants on the island. And so when the government took over the island in the late 80s, they decided to start getting rid of those goats. And so luckily some farmers stepped in and decided that this was a really special breed to save. And so some farmers took them in, and at that point the population was down to about 300. And so that was in the late 80s, like I said, and so we've brought the population back up, back to about 800 since then. So we are actively, we are one of those places that breeds the San Clemente Island goats. These are all of my girls and neutered males. And then I'm sure if you guys have visited the zoo before, you've seen Malcolm. He's the dad to our babies. I don't know where he went.
He's hiding right now.
He's hiding over in the cow yard with Indigo. Did you need to be on camera too? No. So yeah, does anybody have any questions about our goats?
Yeah, we had the question from Suzanne about how the kids from last year were doing.
Yeah, so Bonnie, I can talk a little bit about Bonnie. She's got a lovely winter coat happening right now. So many of you remember Bonnie from last year. She was our smallest goat kid last year. She's the smallest goat kid we've ever had born here at Miller Park Zoo. And so keepers were taking her home at night to bottle feed her. So you can see she's still, I think she'll always be petite, but she's growing really well. We can walk over and we can see the other 3 boys that we saw.
Yeah, you want to go see? While we're walking,
let me take Charlie.
oh, Charlie got his hat knocked sideways. So we've had babies, and the goats do produce milk, right? That's what.
Correct. Yes, there are a lot of private farms that own San Clemente that will continue to milk their goats after they have babies, and then they will make like goat milk soap and stuff like that.
That was from Eden. Eden asked that question.
So if you guys were here last year, these are 3 of our boys from last year. This is Andy, Rex, and Bullseye over there sleeping. So these guys are separate from the rest of the girls because they are still intact and we don't want any accidents if you catch my drift. So these guys will move to another zoo to be in a petting yard. However, as you can imagine, animal transports have kind of halted for the time being. And so they're hanging out over here. Well, I'll probably move them over to the cow yard with Malcolm here soon.
Do we have to trim them?
Trim their feet?
That's Sarah asked if we have to trim
So,
them. Yes.
we do trim their feet. I'll show you on Natasha here. You gonna let me show you? Maybe.
I got her
She doesn't
pinned.
always let me look at. So yes, we do have to trim their feet, and she'll be a perfect example right now because I haven't gotten to trim their feet in a couple weeks. So maybe Bonnie. I'll go grab Bonnie. She'll be easier to show you on. She'll let me pick her up. Where are you? Will you let me show you? Come here. Come here. He'll let me show you. All right. So there we go. So yes, I do trim their feet. I try to trim it on a monthly basis. So if you can see this part right where my thumb, ooh, and she's gonna start wiggling. So right here where my finger is, that's the soft part. They're not cooperating with me. Okay, here. Front foot, pick it up, good girl. All right, so this part right here by my thumbnail is a soft pad of their foot, and then the out portion here grows its keratin just like our fingernails, so I do have to trim that. And these are overgrown. Like I said, I haven't been able to trim them this month with our staffing changes. I just haven't gotten down here. But they're pretty good. I put a little leash on them and I tie them up and I trim their feet.
Joyce wants to know, what do they eat?
Good question. So we do feed them, they do get a grain every day, but the bulk of a goat's diet is going to be grass hay. So they are grazers. So they get virtually all of the nutrition that a goat needs, they will get from the grass hay that they eat.
Andy wants to know what's the largest goat we have.
That would be Malcolm. So that's the goat that, I don't know if you can see him from in this yard. Oh, he's over here sleeping. If I grab him a carrot, I bet he'll get up.
We can see him from here.
Can you see him?
Yep.
So Malcolm is our largest goat.
That's Malcolm.
He does hang out over next door with Indigo. Come here, Malcolm, get up. Indigo's gonna go get it instead. Malcolm, last time I weighed Malcolm, he usually hangs out about a little over 100 pounds now. And he is smaller for San Clemente buck. I've seen reports of intact bucks close to 200 pounds.
Sarah wants to know how many times the goats have given birth.
So actually all 3 of our girls, our moms are right here next to each other. And this will be, all 3 of them, this will be their second year having babies here at the zoo.
Okay. Brianna wants to know if the goats and the roosters or the chickens ever play together.
That is a good question. I don't know that I've seen baby goats chase the chickens. They think that's great fun. I don't know that I've ever seen the chickens play with the goats, though.
What kind of special treat would the goats get?
The goats, I give them, they'll eat just about any fruit or vegetable. They love lettuce. Sometimes from the grocery store, we'll just get like a bin of like odd-end lettuce trimmings and stuff that they use from one of those like prepackaged salads that they make. And I'll just scatter it all over the yard and they go nuts. They love it.
We also have the goat feeders
Right, we also have the goat feeders. When we don't have the yard open, we offer that goat feeder out in between this yard and the goose yard. And there's some special petting yard snacks in there for the goats as well.
Tell everybody again what type of goat Charlie is. Makes him different.
Charlie is a pygmy goat, so he is the one oddball here. You come see? He is by far our oldest goat here. I should refresh my memory. I believe
Charlie,
he was born...
He's 11.
Yeah. He's 11? Yeah. He turns 11 this month.
Yep. So we know how old Charlie is. How old is everybody else, approximately?
Let's see. Charlie is 11. These 3 girls will turn 3 this spring. Nathan and Sean will turn 2. And then Bonnie and the 3 other little boys will turn a year old this year.
Kevin wants to know if the chickens ever peck the goats.
Yes, I have seen the chickens peck the goats sometimes. Let's see if I can catch one for you to see. Oh, no. She's one of my nicest ones. She doesn't let me catch you.
Oh, they ran away.
They ran away. But yes, I have seen them pack it. Usually when there's food involved. We'll go get milk. Or I can go get too.
Susan wants to know how many months the goats are pregnant for. What's their gestation length?
Their gestation is 150 days for the larger breeds like San Clemente's.
So that's about 5 months, right? Approximately.
Yeah, because I usually breed them.
Where'd everybody go? There's Charlie. Come here, buddy.
It's like 4.5 months.
4.5 months that they're pregnant. And then we always time it
Sorry, Franklin.
so that the babies are born in the late spring or early summer. Here's Franklin.
I went and got Franklin out of the... Franklin is our Narragansett turkey. He is a young tom. He will turn a year old in June. He, like the San Clemente goats, is also a heritage breed.
Do the goats climb on a lot of things? Sarah wants to know.
Yes. The goats are very good climbers. You can see we've got the slide they like to climb up there. And then our awesome forestry guys, other city workers, had a tree come down when it was windy a couple weeks ago, and they brought us some new stumps for the goats to climb on.
Kevin also wants to know if the chickens have ever gotten out. I think that means today.
Not today. They haven't gotten out. Yes, they do. Actually, the little brown well summer, she loves to hop over the fence and she'll go and look for bugs in the dirt over here between the yards. That's one of her favorite things to do. Cheap pest control.
We have one final question from Cassandra, and she wants to know how can they help the zoo at this time?
Good. So there is an opportunity to go onto the Miller Park Zoological Society website. It's mpzs.org, and there is an option on the top of that website to go and adopt an animal, and goats are one of those options. And so you can find a drop-down menu and find all sorts of different animals, find your favorite animal, and you can help support us that way. We may be closed to the public right now, but we are still here taking care of the animals, and it does cost quite a bit of money to continue feeding all of these guys. So we generously thank you for any support that you can offer us at this time.
There's also a nice donate button at the bottom of the page here. Hopefully you see that.
Yeah.
You can always donate money that way. You can always buy a zoo membership, which even though we're not open, we will honor that when we do. And all of those things bring money and help take care of the animals. All right. Say goodbye, Charlie.
Bye, Charlie. Happy birthday, Corbin.
Thanks a lot, guys.